Bipolar disorder is a condition defined by extremes, namely mania and depression. I think most people are keyed in pretty well on what depression feels like, as debilitating depression can and often does strike anyone who has just experienced the death of a loved one. That depression is appropriate and precipitates as the result of a single event of loss. In my case, unfitting and incapacitating emotional states define my disorder, and I require medications and occasional hospitalization to function normally. Mania is the opposite end of the spectrum. It's kind of like those days you have when a coworker comments, "Someone's in a good mood today," but then you take that feeling and put it on Adderall. What follows are some of the things I wrote during my last manic episode. When you're manic, you feel like literally anything is possible, if only all these obstacles were out of the way. That you yourself could end all war and disease and pain if only you had enough political power, or access to medical equipment, or morphine. It's a cruel irony that these moments of motivation and empathy can lead you to restraint on hospital gurneys or shut away in padded cells, further from actualizing these dreams than ever. You feel these moments of internal clarity that you've so earnestly sought but have shamefully fallen short of and never truly deserved in the first place. But it's okay, because this high was bought and paid for with those lows. Every intention is validated, every faux pas vindicated. The world is finally balancing itself in its own grand and preordained way. It's kind of like those moments when you're talking to a dear friend you haven't seen in a long time, and you drop the perfect Big Lebowski reference that makes you both lose it in a fit of laughter that chelates every moment you've shared, every struggle, every victory, every reason that person matters to you, and the overwhelming gratitude that you are alive to share in this moment with them. Usually those moments end in a sigh of relief and conclusion as you release that emotional elevation and move on with the conversation. But when you're manic, that feeling keeps going. I think that's part of the reason why we fear those with mental disorders, in part because movies and news stories tell us that they're more likely to harm an innocent bystander than your average grizzly, and in part because we see that little shred of ourselves in that struggle to control this common emotional state, but in their case, run amok. I think that's really uplifting, though, knowing that the root of this fear is empathy, but empathy kept at arm's length to ensure that we ourselves don't lose our own grasp on our minds and take a seat of our own in that psych ward's waiting room. And I think that empathy is the key, or rather, learning to control that empathy is the key so that we can validate that manic belief just enough, that belief that, "I am Vishnu's final avatar. All of your worries are a thing of the past, now follow me to an eternity of nirvana." So his heart rate can slow and he's able to sleep for the first time in days. Because the emotional clarity of mania comes with this almost sense of duty, that if they would just take the time to listen for a fleeting instant and experience what I have to say about this crazy and wonderful and random and beautiful place I'm in, that every problem that we face as individuals and families and nations and as a people would cease. We could blow our trumpets without inhibition and let the walls of Jericho tumble down on the most cathartic and atoning avalanche that anyone could ever imagine. But not anyone could imagine it, only you could. You see glimpses of it every time a man puts his jacket over a puddle for a lady in a petticoat, or a child throws a ball for his dog to fish out of the lake, and the brushstrokes of Van Gogh or the symphonies of Beethoven are in the pages of Shakespeare. And in that twinkle in your eye, when you come so close to touching on that idea that you're struggling so valiantly to express with this amused frustration, because this is one of those moments that reaches out and beckons you to accept the inherent utility of what you're setting out to do. You want so desperately to be understood and felt by those around you as the person that you are and the person that you want to be and the person that you are. You are willing to go to that place if only someone would take your hand and cross the threshold with you. Just one other person who will love and accept you and live with your crazy as if it were not only possible, but desirable and inevitable. No one asked me to do this thing, and no one understands this calling I felt and that I'm trying to answer with the singular harmony of the Tuvan throat singer. If only they knew that enlightenment was only 3 sleepless days of mania away.